Development of the Ashlands biome is really heating up, and today we're going to take a look at new weapons, a new random contraption, and also some fiery lava. So here we are, the October dev blog for Valheim, and of course what we're talking about today is all things Ashlands. A full link to this dev blog will be in the description, but let's take a look at some of the highlights. Now, a common question I get asked on all these update videos always revolves around, will I need to start a new world in order to experience the update? And this section right here is the most relevant to this question. Basically, no, you don't have to do it, but it is something they're going to strongly recommend. And as they say, it has been true of any previous large updates, they always say it's much better to start a new world if you want to get the full experience. Now, let's get on to something really cool, which is the new weapons that are being showcased here, which will be part of Ashlands. Now, the first thing to say is, if you look at them, you can see the material of them, right? They're silver, greyish in colour, and that's a little bit different to what we might expect. You see, Flametal is like an orangey reddish colour, and that's typically what we currently find in the Ashlands biome at the moment. Now, when Flametal is smelted into bars, it is more of like a slightly more grey colour. I'd say almost like brown though, more so than the grey / silver that we see here. So it makes me wonder whether Flametal will be the main Ashlands ore, or is it going to be like a brand new type of ore or material that we're building out of that we can get from the Ashlands biome? What do you guys think about that? So starting on the left, we have the Greatsword, and this will presumably be a two-handed sword that will do quite significant damage. And of course we have the regular sword and the mace, so nothing particularly unusual about these. Whether they'll do some sort of damage, like fire damage or something like that, I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, just a regular sword and mace. But on the right, we do have something very interesting and pretty cool, which are dual wielding axes. So this will be something completely new for Valheim. The fact that we're going to be able to dual wield these axes is going to be awesome. One question I do have is whether or not we'll be able to chop down trees with these dual wielding axes, because that could be really cool. If we can just go into a forest with an axe in each hand and just go crazy on the trees there, then that might be good. However, it may also mean even more deaths to trees, and to be honest, I've had too many of those already. It should be quite fun in combat though, just get a couple of axes and go crazy on like a horde of fueling or something like that. I reckon that'll be pretty cool. A huge thank you to all my channel members who support me. You can join from just $2 per month and get perks such as early access to all of my videos that only members can watch, along with loyalty badges, members emojis, and much more. Click the join button below this video or the link in the video description to find out more. Now, we need your feedback on this one, guys, because I've been looking at this for quite a while and I'm really not sure I can figure out what it is. So what they actually say about it on the dev blog is that it looks a bit like an obliterator, but it does something quite different. Now, with the obliterator, you can of course put items into it and channel thunder down into it to sort of destroy those items or convert them into coal, basically. Now, it's saying this here is going to do something quite different though, so I wonder what that could be. Even zooming in on this picture, it's still really hard to get any sort of idea as to what this might be. The spikes on top of it do look like they could be like casting a net out there to try and sort of catch thunder potentially, and that is kind of similar to what we see on top of the obliterator, and they did say that it looks the same, but it will do something quite different. But that's not to say that it doesn't channel thunder in order to do that different thing. Perhaps channeling the thunder is still going to be the way that it's powered, but then that power is used for something else. I was wondering whether this circular area here that's got these sort of green almost lights on, that could be maybe either an input or an output slot. You can imagine that there's a similar circle on the other side, and perhaps you input on one side and you get an output on the other. So for example, those new weapons that we just looked at, I said maybe they're made out of a new type of ore, and maybe it's going to be a way of alloying metals. For example, what if you have to alloy, say, Flametal ore and iron ore? You input them both into here, the thunder strikes the top of that to sort of power it, and then the new type of ore comes out at the other end. Now, it's just speculation, but I thought it'd be good to get a topic going here and try and come up with some ideas as to what it could be. Of course, because it's Ashlands, this could be something that's going to have some sort of practical use to help us actually explore the biome. One thing I did think could be cool, and I don't really think it's going to be this, but let's just have a little think about this nonetheless. Imagine if you wait for the thunder to sort of channel and hit the top bit there, and the power comes right the way down, and then from that circle, a big energy beam just shoots out. As I said, it is a little bit far-fetched, but that energy beam could break down a wall that could let you in to fight like a new Ashlands boss, or potentially get into a new Ashlands dungeon. Don't know why I struggled so much with that line. I had to record it about 6 times, but moving on. Personally, I do still like my idea of creating metal alloys in this thing, or even just having that in the game, because I think it could lead to a lot of interesting opportunities. Or maybe the thunder hits it and it shoots something out of the circle right there, creates a new portal. That portal takes you around to the back of the Valheim world that you can currently see, which is the same size. So Valheim world is actually double the size it currently is, and we have a whole new load of biomes and bosses and things to explore. I got that line wrong a few times as well, guys. I really don't think it's that, but how cool would that be? Do let me know your thoughts on this one down in the comments, and let's see what you guys come up with. So next they go on to talk about the terrain itself, which is probably one of the most interesting terrains we're going to have in the game of Valheim, with all this lava and fire. It's a very unique sort of biome compared to some of the others. And as they say here, the lava will be dominating some very large areas, and crossing these lakes of molten rock will be a challenge of its own, we assure you. That is to quote them. So let's take a real close look at this photo and see if there's anything we can see. Are they giving us any little spoilers in here? Well, a couple things become abundantly clear very early on. I mean, we have this right here, and there's actually another thing like this off in the background you can see over there next to that tree. So a couple of thoughts right away. Number one is that could be like fire shooting up from the ground or something like that, but I actually think that looks more like a solid structure. There's something you maybe mine. To me, it could be a way of getting the new ore or the flametal rock or some sort of, molten rock that perhaps you use for certain things. And actually, as I'm saying that, maybe that thing we looked at before that looks like the obliterator is actually like a new type of furnace. So perhaps you mine these lava rocks right here, you put them in there, and with the energy of the thunder, they get turned into ore. Or maybe these are going to actually be a fuel source, right? You mine these, you get these lava rocks because coal is no longer strong enough to melt the flametal, this new like overpowered ore. So it's actually these lava rocks that are used to smelt it down. I mean, I'm just like guessing at stuff here, but it's just kind of fun to think about. Now, looking at these trees right here, these remind me a little bit of the trees that you get in the swamp that have that green gut hanging off them, but these have got obviously some sort of fiery red substance in them. So maybe there is stuff in these trees that we can harvest and collect. Maybe it's just a new type of like firewood that we can build out of. And I mean, how cool would that be? Actually, that'd be very, very cool indeed. And certainly these trees do look very unique and very different, so they could be something like that. Now, behind this tree over here, we do see something that to me looks like a structure, maybe some sort of Ashlands ruins. So it looks like that's going to be like ruins structures for us to explore in the Ashlands biome, which would actually make a lot of sense to me. Perhaps it's even like a dungeon entry, not sure about that one, but definitely like a point of interest and maybe somewhere that's, like I say, either mobs or dungeons or something to explore and loot. Another thing that really caught my eye is this over here, which it's like hard to tell exactly what it is. Now, Valheim have showcased there's going to be like a new type of serpent that will be in the seas that will be coming like with the Ashlands update, and I'm not sure if that's just in the seas around an Ashlands biome or how that's going to work. But it did get me thinking, imagine if there was like a lava serpent. They have said that crossing the molten rock rivers will be very difficult, and perhaps mobs is going to be a part of the challenge we'll have in crossing them. I mean, if there's a lava serpent in there, then that's definitely going to be difficult. Now, obviously, this does look a lot like rock, but if you think about it, if there was some sort of lava serpent that's living under lava, it would probably have to have a rock-like structure for it to make sense to be there. I mean, if it had flesh and scales, it would burn to death and die in the lava, right? So it would have to be like a rocky thing, in my opinion. So this could be a serpent, but it could also just be a rock structure. Either way, I think it's super interesting, because if it is just a rock structure, then what a fantastically weird-looking rock structure it is. The thing for me that really makes me think it could be a serpent, though, is right here when you see like what would be like its head. It looks more like a head to me than, I don't know, than rocks. It's hard. The structure to me definitely looks serpent-like. It would be a massive beast if it is one. So again, would love to know, what do you guys think about this one? Am I seeing things? Is this just rock, or could it be a serpent? Now, I just noticed in the actual banner picture for the blog post, we have a bit of another angle at this rock structure that looks also a bit like a serpent. And it really got me thinking, because it does look just like rocks from this perspective, but there's still that serpent-y kind of shape to it. And it made me wonder, what if it's like the abomination in the swamp? I mean, the abomination just looks like a log, and then you disturb it, and all of a sudden it becomes this amazing monster that wants to kill you. So what if it's a similar thing? This is a serpent, it looks like a rock-like structure, but all of a sudden you awaken it and it's a fiery serpent trying to kill you. Okay, I'm maybe getting a little bit ahead of myself and a little bit excited, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Now, there is one final thing that I almost missed, because this is hidden deep in the lava, and I'm gonna have to scroll in. Now, let me get all the way into this, just like this, and they've put it in. There we go, just there we go. But I'm on the road to 100k, so you could help me out if you want to. And last but certainly not least, we have the amazing build of the month by Splash O'Pain, which is this build right here. Quite an appropriate style for Halloween, I would say, and an absolutely fantastic build. So congratulations to Splash. A huge thank you to all of my patrons who support me. If you guys want to support me over there and get rewards like joining my server and such, then there'll be a link in the description.